welcome back, and we're moving into our second segment for today as we find out more about the recruitment for the Belize Youth Challenge Program. We have with us on set Anthony Castillo, who is the Commandant for the Belize Youth Challenge, and he is from the Ministry of Human Development. And we have Captain Rogelio Pop, who is the Deputy Commandant for the Belize Youth Challenge. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Marlene. Morning, John.
Okay, I feel like I have to be on my best behavior because I'm around both of you at this point. No, but I want to be able to clarify very early on. This is a reconstituted cadet program. It is now the Belize Youth Challenge Program, right?
Exactly so, Marlene.
Yes.
Morning again, morning TV viewers. We are launching the Belize Youth Challenge Program. The Belize Youth Challenge Program is a program it's a voluntary program for young males between the ages of 15 and 17 who may have behavioral problem or may be running into problem with the law, right? Our mission is to bring these young men into our program, offer them some academics, some skills program, counseling, along with military-style discipline, right? This program we're launching today, it used to be called the National Youth Cadet Program, right? This program is modeled from a program in Louisiana, right? They have a youth challenge program. And we have personnel from both the Ministries of Defense and Ministry of Human Development who have visited Louisiana to look at the program. And we think that this program could be very much beneficial to our young people here in Belize. I will ask Captain Pop to expound on that segment of this program.
Morning, Marlene. Morning, John. I would say that this program basically was set up since 2016 when there was a communique between the general for the Louisiana National Guard and the Belize Defense Force at the time. It was at that time when the state of Louisiana pledged its support to establish a youth program in Belize. And that agreement basically stems off the state partnership that we continue to have with Louisiana for the past 20 years. So the reinvigorated energies that we now see the BDF playing as part of this program is basically to mirror what already exists in Louisiana. Since they have over 20 years experience and we can see the benefits of it, we want to play a bigger role. As I could always say that the BDF has always been instrumental in helping communities, supporting projects. As long as it benefits the community, we want to be a part of it.
So explain to us what the major difference would be between what used to be the cadet program and what is now the Youth Challenge Program.
All right. Initially, the program was run by Ministry of Human Development, right? Mostly had to do with the academics and the skill training. And we had some support from the volunteer arm of the BDF. This time around, we are getting support from the regular element of the BDF, ranking officers, and they will be an integral part of the training, not just support. So while we're doing our skills, we'll be doing our academics. We have the online program for those who may want to pursue high school online. They'll be offered that kind of education as well. But along with that, we'll have this, as I said, the military style discipline, which I think that most of our young persons can benefit from. So this time around, it's not only support from the BDF, but they'll be an integral part of the training.
You know, with what's going on here, what's being launched, the Belize Youth Challenge, it actually is this door opening for parents or for children, of course, like you mentioned, for children that are problematic.
Right.
It is something that just rang inside a parent's mind for the fact that now my child will eventually get this military style training. It comes with discipline. You discipline yourself, and of course you walk the straight line. We know that much about the BDF. Now, for that child, when he or she ventures off into the Belize Youth Challenge, Is there an opening for that child to eventually become one of our defenders?
At this time, the program is for males only, so it's not a he or she. It's only for
So we
males at this time.
clarify.
Yeah.
Right, and it's a pilot at this time. We'll do a 2 years pilot as well. For this program to be successful, we need all hands on deck.
Yes.
We need the parents. Each challenger, each cadet will have a mentor as well, right? So with the training being offered by the program, assistance from our counselors, our social workers, and the mentors, with all hands on deck, the success rate is high, definitely. But everybody need to do their part to help to mold this young person,
Yeah.
right?
Now, one of the key things that you have mentioned is that it is voluntary. In other words, it can't be a court-mandated program. It can't be that the school says, go here instead. You do need the child to want to go, but you will have parents who will want to send them.
Right.
Perhaps the children may not be as interested. What will you do in that particular scenario?
One of the challenge we had with the previous program is that the parent would allow the child to come into the program, but there's no follow-up from the program. So we become like a babysitter. Go to cadet and they'll take care of you. This time around, we are urging the parents, yes, send your child to the program, but we also need your support, right? There are times when a young person is coming to the program, but because of the rigors of the program and the discipline, they don't want to keep up with the program. And here is where they will want to leave the program. Hence the reason why it's so important that each young person that comes into the program bring along a mentor, right? The mentor will assist the young person, whatever challenges he's going through, to help to encourage him to stay on, along with our counselors. What we're looking at this time around, we're trying to minimize the number of dropouts that we have into our program.
Yeah.
It is a challenge, right? Some of them will be leaving home for the first time, right? And the first 2 months, there'll be no home visit, very minimal communication with the family. It's kind of a break-in part of the training until about in December. We start October 16th, and they remain with us until December when we get a Christmas break. But we will have one family day during that period where the family will be encouraged to come to the institution and meet with their child. But by and large, they'll be with us, kind of break them in. Come January, the real program then begin, where the rigors of the training steps in.
Where will these trainings be held? Because you mentioned no home visits,
Right.
So that means
Is that
they'll be
on
going.
campus?
They'll be going somewhere. Where?
As I said, the training, the actual institution, the facility is at mile 21, right where the cadet was, the same ground. So everybody remain there. So in December, everybody get that home leave and they go back home with their family to return back immediately after the Christmas break and continue the training.
Okay. Now, it is, you spoke about the mentorship portion, and I want to ask how things have been, is that a voluntary basis as well? Are you looking for mentors, or have they been identified?
We will be asking the young persons who will be applying for the program to bring along a mentor from their community, somebody they're comfortable with, that's somebody who they look up to as well.
Yeah.
In cases where they cannot identify, we will try to provide one. But we are encouraging every person who apply to bring along a mentor, and we'll have a special training also for the mentors.
That's fantastic. So you're engaging more than just one person from any given community.
Precisely so.
Now, Captain Pop, I have a very important question for you. 15 to 17, these are still children. And when we say military discipline, sometimes people get nervous because perhaps it would be too rigid for the age group. How do you balance out ensuring that discipline is in the forefront of their training, but that it is not too harsh for a child?
Well, if we were to embark on this program alone, it would be rigid in all fairness. But what we're doing is that we have this co-management that we have agreed to, and all the officers that will be part of the instructor portion will be trained in community rehabilitation program techniques. So all of the officers that will be working for us will have sort of like what is needed for humanistic then.
Like
It's
a
not-
sensitivity type training.
Yes.
Yeah.
to develop youths, and all of it is there are different methods that we can use to correct different when they're straying off the path. We're not going to solely approach it from military style. We're looking at how best we can use like the core correctional procedures, like for example reflective listening, positive reinforcements, listening to a child, because at the end of the day we want the youths to come out something positive so that they can contribute to the society.
And in preparing for this training, the BDF already done some training with us from human development in what we call co-correctional practices, right? So it's not all rigid. So while it will have the military component, it is not a military school.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So you'll see the SAFA part of the BDF.
But
because let me just finish this one, because I want to say one thing. I know, and there are probably people at home saying, Marlene, crazy, make them rough them up. But children don't drop out of school at 15 because they've had normal, productive lives. Oftentimes, something has gone wrong in the process. And as a representative of human development, I'm sure you know the challenges that some of our young children face within their families and communities. So my question is that what is your plan in being able to give them a way to come back on the right path? Because there's the discipline and structure. All children need structure. There's the academics. But how do you also take care of the pain perhaps that they've experienced along the way so they can be able to get their lives back on track?
As I said, it's a holistic package.
Yeah.
We have our counselors, we have our social workers. Going back to the age range, we are hoping that children, and I think it's mandatory for all children to be at school up to age 14.
That's right.
Initially, the cadet program used to take them on at 13. So we're not taking 13 anymore, we're taking them at 15. So when they come to our program, they would have already completed their high school, their primary school. They're already completed, right? And these are the kids who probably hanging out on the block, right? Already going astray, Sarah. So at 15, if you're not in high school, you're not in an organized program, you're probably just idling and you are at risk. So these are the people who we bring on at 15. So at 15, for 2 years, you're with us. You come out at 17, the chance for you to be employed, the chance for you to go into entrepreneurship, probably join the army is even higher. You would have already gotten the discipline from this program, right?
And I wanted to venture up because for something like this, there must be a long-term vision. You mentioned 2 years. So you've got a child there from 15 years old to 17, or from 17, between 15 and 17.
Right.
And the parent, in mind would be, okay, I've got this problem child, but I know that he's got the capability for, to move on.
Right.
And I want him there, but what happens when he comes out? Is that like it's finished right there, or is there an avenue for him to go and do something else within the ranks? Because look, a child at that age, it becomes his lifestyle then. So what happens afterwards?
All right, the residential phase is the first 10 months. After the graduation, before graduation, the social worker and the counselor would have already met with this child and chart a way forward. Where do I go from here? I'll go back to high school. I'll continue my online high school training. I will try to seek employment, right? So whatever the plan is for that young person, that plan, he will have the assistant after social worker and the mentor. Those are the two persons who will work closely with that young person, right? To chart out this plan and stay on track, right? So the role of the mentor is very, very crucial at this point, because he will no longer be with us at the residential, but he'll be at home, and he will again have the challenges from the guys on the block, right? But there is where our social worker and our mentor will work closely with the plan already developed while they were at the institution to carry through with the plan.
The key thing about this program, though, is that since it's voluntary, when you look at how it is structured, that change in mindset would have already started when that child puts his signature on the paper, I will complete this challenge. So that change basically starts from then, and they just go through the program, and once they complete it, they would have a clearer vision of what they want to do.
Yeah.
Whether to, like Mr. Castillo said, whether to go back to school, seek employment, whatever it is, that positive mindset would have been established and maintained throughout that program. But that change already started when they signed that contract, I will do this challenge.
I love what you're saying, because that is such the truth. And I don't like calling children problem children, because I think children sometimes have problems.
Right. Of course.
And regardless of what we perceive, 15 is still a child.
Right.
Now, this is one way that young boys in this country can make themselves into a better man.
Right.
And I love that you're saying that there's a point where even if I have been on a negative path for a while, there comes a point in time where an opportunity presents itself that I can make that shift. Right. And that's what you're hoping this will be.
Exactly.
How do people sign up, and what are some of the specific criteria they need to meet before that?
Right. To sign up for this program, all the officers, the human development offices in the districts, the community rehabilitation office, the Department of Youth Service, and the community policing unit in Belize City. These are all areas that you'll be able to access your application form, sign up, and leave back your form.
Yeah.
A young person needs to be 15 years old, between 15 and 17, be a Belizean, willing to leave home, right, go into a residential setting, right, and be willing to make a change in his life.
You know,
And the
Be
cost?
prepared.
The cost of the program?
It's free. It's free of cost.
free of cost.
Yeah.
But remember now, there might be some children out there who are actually saying, this is exactly the path that I'm looking for. What's the capacity we're able to hold?
At this time, as I said, it's a pilot program, and we are hoping to start off with 50 young men.
Yeah.
50 at this time.
And
Right.
this-
So spaces are limited.
Yeah.
So for those listening to this program, you want to be a part of this program, find our various offices throughout the country, sign up, and enhance your chance of getting in.
Yeah, and you can find it on the Human Development website. You can find it on the
BDF.
BDF website, because it is co-managed by these two entities.
Right.
And one of the things I think that we can talk about, the deadline for the application is when? They can start today
Right.
until?
September 22nd is the deadline.
September 22nd.
Right? And the program begins on October 16th. Right? As you rightly said, this program is co-managed by the Ministry of Human Development, Social Transformation, and Poverty Alleviation, along with the Ministry of Defense.
Yeah.
So from Human Development, it's the Community Rehabilitation Office and the Belize Defense Force. And Captain Pop and I will be the persons on the ground. I'm the commandant, he's the assistant commandant, and we will be the person on the ground to ensure that this program works.
So
And
whenever
they
you
have-
see Mr. Castillo again, he will have a lot of ranks on him.
I'm trying to figure out, well, you both have very distinct personalities, so I think it's important that we are providing opportunities for children no matter what lifestyle they have been in.
Right.
Now, I want to ask very quickly, this has been a successful program in Louisiana, and I remember very clearly when Brigadier General Jones was here and he was speaking of looking into the program, so it has come to fruition. Tell us a bit about the success that they've seen in Louisiana that you hope will be replicated in Belize.
Well, from what we gather, I think the programs there in Louisiana graduates around 1,400 students per year.
Wow.
So that is a tremendous impact on society. And if you look at our society as it is right now, if we can have, although we're starting with a small number, but even that, changing one life can lead to something positive within our country, and that's what we are looking for. So we look at the success of Louisiana. Yes, it's a completely different scenario, but we're all humans and we have problems. We want to make something positive out of it. So I think when we look at that holistically, we want to change people's lives.
All right, once again, if you are up for the challenge and you're a male between 15 and 17 years old, you have up until September 22nd to be able to apply for the program. Spaces are limited. There are only 50 slots available. It means you will spend the first year with a greater portion outside of your home, staying at the campus, and then the second you go back home. You do have some visits at home, so you get to have your turkey dinner with the family at least. These are some of the places that you can pick up your application form. Ministry of Human Development, Community Rehab Department, BDF Camps, Department of Youth Services, or you can also find it online. Anything else you'd like to say to young boys watching about why they should take up the challenge?
I'd like to urge all young persons who at this time are not in school, are not attached to any organized program, to come and join and take up the challenge.
Yeah.
Right? It will be beneficial. Right? And not only the Belize City boys, I'm urging young people countrywide. Right? Right.
All right. Well, thank you all for stopping in and letting us know about what is coming up, and we appreciate you sharing this information. Hopefully, we'll have some of your graduates when you reach that point, right?
Yeah. We promise you.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about the World Festival of Youth and Students in Russia. So stay tuned.